All right, welcome everyone on behalf of Dimensions in Travel and Silversea Expeditions. We are delighted to have you here with us today for a voyage to the Galapagos Islands with Silversea Expeditions. This is our eighth event in a series that we are putting together about exciting destinations and great ways to see them. And we think the Galapagos is made for the kind of outdoor travel with plenty of room for social distancing and fresh air that we're all going to be looking for in the future. My name is Diana St. James, and I'm one of the owners of Dimensions of Travel, along with my business partner, Jill Romano. Before we get started, as Megan mentioned, we have everyone in listen only mode, so your microphones are off and your cameras are off as well. You will have the opportunity though to ask questions, and you'll see down at the bottom of your screen there is a chat box. Please feel free to type questions in at any time, and at the end we will be asking those questions of our two people from Silversea. We're so glad you're here. Dimensions in Travel has been in business for 42 years, and all of us miss traveling so much, and that we know you do too. And we find that these virtual events are a great way for us to go somewhere while we wait to travel safely again. Starting to see the phrase travel with care coming up for the kind of travel we'll all be doing in the future. So we're all eager to see what that's going to look like. We have some special guests from Silversea Expeditions today. Cruising and expedition cruising are perfect vacations for families, couples, honeymooners, friends traveling together, solo travelers. We are all love cruising and we are eager for it to return again, but we want it to be safe. So now I would like to introduce my business partner and good friend and agency co-owner, Jill Romano. Jill, hi.
Diana. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm delighted this afternoon to introduce these two fabulous travel ladies, partners of Dimensions in Travel. First is Megan Ellman, and Megan is our director of sales. She's based in the San Francisco area. She's got travel in her blood, this one. Her mother worked for Pan Am for many years, and if you're my generation or so, that was the iconic airline of many years. She's been in the tour and cruise industry for 12 years. She's visited over 75 countries, including the Galapagos twice. So lucky traveler, that one. Thank you so much for being with us. And Rachel Woodward is the director of expedition sales. She's based in Southern California. She's been in the cruise industry for about 15 years and has been with Silversea for at least 10 now. And she has visited every major expedition destination Silversea's offers, from Antarctica to Alaska, the Galapagos to the Arctic. So you all are in for such a treat this afternoon. We've got the best of the best on board, and I'd like to turn it over to the two of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm Megan. I'm very excited to present a little bit of an overview of our classic product. We have classic and expedition. So Rachel being our expedition guru, I'll touch as kind of an overview of who Silversea is and kind of how we're moving forward through this interesting time. And Rachel will be touching on our expedition product and largely the Galapagos, which she knows quite well. So we just kind of want to remind all of our partners and all of our travelers that we are in this together. You know, I'm sure we've all heard unprecedented times, more times than we would like to, but we have invested a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of interest into creating within our industry a safe, comfortable place for our clients to still explore the world with us. a very beneficial thing about our brand already is kind of we were built for social distancing, from the size to our vessels to the off the beaten path destinations that we go to and the space on the vessels themselves. But we just want you to know that we hear our clients, we're experiencing this too. Everyone who's hosting this are huge lovers of travel, and we want it to be safe as well. And we want to feel safe, and we want our clients to feel safe. And we want to open safely and start cruising again in the right way. And I can say, as someone who's worked for many different brands, I've been really impressed and proud by how Silversea has handled this, and just how kind of the efforts we put forth in order to make it safe to cruise again. With that being said, we really want to create this kind of risk-free environment. The main thing that we've really put out to give our clients a feeling of ease and comfort with booking is Cruise with Confidence. And our Cruise with Confidence program really says that outside of 30 days, you can rebook the 100% future cruise credit to any future cruise. Given with the way that the cruising has gone up until now, if we cancel, then you can get a refund, you can do 115% future cruise credit. But we have a lot of new programs in place in order to make our clients feel really confident about planning a trip right now. That it's risk-free. Financially, it's not anything that you have to be concerned about. We were fully part of the Royal Caribbean Group now. We have a very secure backing with them financially. So your investment in a trip with us is a really secure place to put your money right now. And we'll talk a little bit about the stuff we have going on, but it's also just a kind of a risk-free offer. So we want everyone to feel really safe and secure with planning a trip in the future financially. And then of course, on the other side of it, from a health perspective, which I'm going to talk about. So our Healthy Sail Panel. We partnered with Norwegian Cruise Lines and enlisted a whole slew of experts for this panel to make a healthy sail plan. From infectious disease specialists to physicians to scientists to researchers. We spent a lot of resources and a lot of finances in order to creating a really safe space, from testing to consistent testing and instant testing, to creating a bubble, to air filtration, to re-outfitting all of our vessels to have kind of the utmost protection for all of our travelers. So right now we have about a short 120-page document that outlines that. We had a recent press release, and I can share that with the ladies from Dimensions in Travel. We're very, very close to having our exact delineation of everything that we can expect of if someone gets COVID, how do we execute it? How do we quarantine? How do we get people home? These are all the questions that clients want to know, and we want to have the answers. So we want clients to know that we have been working on this for 9 months to get you an answer and get you feeling really safe to cruise again. And so that is we're right on the precipice of releasing that. So again, a really exciting kind of PR perspective of where we're going to feel comfortable in cruising again. So what sets us apart? As Jill mentioned, I love to travel. I used to, when I was quite young, my family would just be like, there's open seats to Amman, Jordan, first class, let's go. So I was traveling at a very young age. I don't think it's any surprise that I've gravitated towards this very specific brand. We go to twice as many ports as any other cruise line in the world. We go to almost 1,000. I think the next closest is about 400 ports. I am a geography nerd. So for someone who wants to see the world and doesn't want to run out of places to go and global exploration, Silversea Cruises is your brand. We go to, by far, the most ports of any cruise line and the most interesting itineraries I've ever seen in any traveler cruise operator. Also, the size of our vessels. We are between 100 to max 600 passengers, depending on which vessel you'll be sailing on. And that really allows you so much access to these destinations. Our staff to guest ratio, and Rachel will talk about that in our expedition product, is second to none. And certainly the size of our suites. they're gigantic. So these are really important key pieces that set us apart, because as many kind of luxury all-inclusive cruise lines might share, we are really set apart with the size of our vessels and the plethora of places you can see with us. As you can see, we have, we'll soon have 10 total vessels sailing our great globe, and really getting off the beaten path. There isn't a place that we don't go, and we do it really well, and we do it very intimately and very authentically, and really extracting the culture of where we are taking our travelers. This is a perfect example of how we get you right to the source on our incredible itineraries. Going under the Tower Bridge, very few cruise lines can have a vessel of this size getting such access to really populated places like, popular ports in Europe. With here, you're going to be right in downtown London. You're not going to be in Southampton. You're going to be right in the heart of everything. And that's what we're really trying to offer. Also, the duration of our times in ports. A lot of cruise lines will be like a few hours here or there. We want to overnight. We want you to see the world. That is why people are going to travel, whether it's cruising, land tours, whatever. You want to see the globe. So our access is second to none, because we are by far the smallest luxury all-inclusive cruise line that can take you to so many different ports. So just some of like what I mentioned: butler service, all, Wi-Fi included for everyone, our spacious suites, everything's all inclusive, gratuities, things that you don't have to worry about. We want you to get there and just relax. We don't want you to take out your credit card, worry about any of the extras. We want to give you our pricing up front, and then we want you to really experience the product. So that, mixed with the size of our vessels and the destinations we go to, obviously I'm very enthusiastic about. And the expedition, Rachel will touch on. So these are an overview of our vessels. As I mentioned, we have the Moon and the Dawn. The Dawn is coming, the Moon just hit the water, as did the Origin. And of course, we have more vessels that are coming your way. So for those of you who might be new to Silversea or have cruised with us in the past, we have had a huge facelift. We are investing in new vessels. We have the backing of Royal Caribbean. All of our vessels are being refurbished. We're doing those sexy grays and blues and sleek core that I think really reflect our traveler and what people are looking for in a luxury experience. So if you have cruised with us, just keep in mind we're kind of reinventing ourselves in a very positive way, and we really want to be current and bold and have these incredible new vessels that our clients can experience. The Moon is our latest. As I mentioned, she just hit the water, and we're very, very excited about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful boat. And we're gonna, hopefully, as soon as we're free to start cruising again, we will be booking this quite frequently. And lastly, Salt. It's our sea and land taste culinary program. And it's really about the culinary and the libations of the authentic destinations. So if you're in South America, you're going to be cooking and eating and doing interactive drink making classes that are extracting the local flavors of the destination. And this is going to be on the majority of our vessels. So again, Rachel can talk about an expedition, but we're really trying to make you have this immersive experience where you really feel the destination on your cruise. And with that, I will transfer it over to Rachel to share some expedition information with all of you.
Well, thank you, Megan, and thank you, Dimensions in Travel, for the wonderful welcome. As Megan said, the destinations we visit are double the amount of any other cruise line. A big focus with our brand, of course, is the expedition side. We have 4 expedition vessels in our fleet, and we visit these destinations at the prime time of year for the destination. So when we're in the Arctic, it's their summertime. Same with Antarctica, we're there from November through the end of February. The Kimberleys in Australia, Papua New Guinea. We're offering a 167-day expedition world cruise from pole to pole. First ever cruise line that's ever offered this, and we have over 100 guests booked. So when you're looking at unique voyages, if you've been everywhere in the world, take a look at some of our expedition offerings. Megan, I love what you're sharing about just the brand itself and really how we've evolved. On the expedition side, this was our 12th year in expedition cruising. And when I say when you're looking at an itinerary and a product and a cruise line, look at one that's visited these destinations for some time. It really does make a difference, especially with the expedition team that leads these trips. But one of the most popular questions that we get out in the field, how strenuous is an expedition cruise? And I say if you can climb a flight of stairs, walk a half mile, play a round of golf, you can go on an expedition voyage. We cater to all different activity levels. And these are just some of my favorite photos from recent trips, but we use these inflatable, rugged and very maneuverable Zodiacs to get you from the ship to a shore. And you're visiting these landing sites that can only be accessed via these small Zodiacs. When Megan was talking about the brand overview for Classic, very similar to Expedition, the only difference is on the Expedition side, we include all shore excursions. And those excursions are all led by our Expedition team. So when you come on board, everything is planned for you. We'll have daily briefings, nightly recaps that the Expedition team will give. And we also include complimentary kayaking for our polar destinations as well as the Galapagos. The dining on board is wonderful. We have up to 5 dining venues on our expedition ships, and we also have a partnership with the Royal Geographical Society, which we'll talk in a bit about our Galapagos product. So I know for this event, a big focus here is the Galapagos, and this is one of my favorite destinations. I visited the islands about 3 years ago, and it is very, very special and unique. And really what makes it so special, the wildlife. They have no fear of humans at all. And the close encounters that you have each day is quite remarkable. With our Galapagos product, it's a 7-day voyage every Saturday, and we include pre and post with our package. So we do offer free international economy air or an air credit for that, and 2-night pre-hotel stay in Quito at the JW Marriott. And then you'll board the ship on a Saturday. It'll be a 7-day cruise. And the following Saturday, we include a day room hotel in Guayaquil at the Oro Verde Hotel. So if you factor in the pre and post, it's about a 10-day trip. I love talking about our expedition team. They are so passionate, especially our Galapagos guides. They do have to be residents of Ecuador. Many of them, their parents, their grandparents were guides in the Galapagos, and they're specialists in their field. Many of them have PhDs, double masters, marine biologists, historians, botanists, birders. We have photographers on board. And what else is unique with the team? We have 10 expedition guides for 100 guests for our Galapagos product. So what this means, small group excursions ashore, no more than 10 to 12 guests in a Zodiac. And I know, Megan, when you're talking about social distancing, expedition is so different because we're visiting these islands in the Galapagos and there's no interaction with locals ashore. The only locals that you're going to come in contact with are the wildlife. So I want to show a brief video given by one of our expedition guides in the Galapagos, and he'll share what makes the island so unique and special.
Galapagos is unique because this is one of the few places on Earth where you're actually accepted as part of that environment. These species are not running away or flying away. In certain cases, they're coming up to you. And that makes this place truly unique. Something that surprises many people is the diversity of Galapagos. Not only the terrain, which is distinct from one island to the next, but also the diversity of life. We have a unique diversity. In areas where you have reptiles such as sea turtles swimming next to penguins, there's nowhere else on Earth that you have that combination. Being a naturalist on the Silver Galapagos is not only fascinating for me because of this environment that we're traveling through, but also meeting our guests that are coming in here and seeing Galapagos through their eyes and the excitement of being able to interact with the species here. It's very personal. There's no other place like Galapagos on Earth.
I could watch that video probably another 10 times. I just love it. You know, you really do see with the expedition team just their passion for the islands. And I highly recommend, if you haven't visited the Galapagos yet, speak with Dimensions in Travel. It's a trip of a lifetime. The exciting announcement that we have with our Galapagos product, we have a brand new purpose-built vessel, Silver Origin, that is currently in Ecuador, just waiting to set sail. As soon as we find out when we can set sail, she will visit the Galapagos Islands year-round. And what else is unique with the Galapagos? There isn't a bad time to visit. So whether or not you're looking at a trip in February, April, or even the fall, it's a great time of year to visit the islands. As the ship was purpose-built for the Galapagos, we never drop anchor. So we have dynamic stabilizers on board, so we're able to protect the seafloor. And the other unique thing with the destination, we're never docked. So we always use the Zodiacs to get you from ashore back to the ship. All ocean view veranda suites. So there's no porthole picture windows, no inside categories. Every suite, and we call them suites because they're so large, they all have ocean view verandas. Just a stunning ship. A lot of natural light too. I'll click through some photos here. We just received these photos yesterday. Our marketing team was on board in Ecuador, but this is the, we're calling it our Marina deck platform. And this is where we use to bring guests from the Zodiac back on board. And it's quite easy. You just take a couple steps from the Zodiac to the platform, and then we'll be able to store some of the expedition gear. We do include snorkeling for the Galapagos, so we'll have all the snorkel gear there. And then once you walk on board the ship, you'll walk into this area, we're calling it our base camp. A lot of lounge space to just enjoy, read a book, a lot of Galapagos artwork throughout the vessel, because we do have that partnership with the Royal Geographical Society. So there are some artifacts from Charles Darwin's endurance trip. And then I'll just click through here. You can see a large interactive digital screen, which our expedition team will use to review some of the wildlife. So they can pull up each day. Every morning we visit an island, every afternoon a different island, and they can review each island on this digital wall. This is the first ever vessel in the Galapagos that has this technology on board. And Megan, when you're talking about just some of the updates that we've done with all of our vessels, you'll notice too, just light color tones and a lot of natural light. So it's a very comfortable vessel. And I also like to describe it as, it looks like a mega yacht in the Galapagos. More lounge space. We have this observation lounge that's just above the bridge area, has a 180-degree view outside. And then with Expedition, we get a lot of questions. Well, what type of entertainment do you have on board? With Expedition Travel, it is an educational trip. So we have our expedition team on board giving lectures throughout the day. We will have a couple gentlemen that will play the piano and sing in the evening, but the entertainment on board is our expedition team. We don't have any cabaret style performances, but we use this Explorer Lounge for the lectures. So it's a very casual area to watch lectures. And then we have a nice bar. All beverages are included. And what else is unique with this vessel? All of the cuisine is locally sourced from Ecuador, and all of the wines are South American wines. That's something that is required for all vessels in the Galapagos. We do have a nice outdoor hot tub. We also have a spa and salon, but the only additional charge on board would be for the spa and salon. Everything else is included with the trip. We have our main restaurant, which is available for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also have an outside grill, very casual. And then my favorite on an expedition voyage, room service. Room service is available early in the morning, so you can speak to your butler. He can order you a cappuccino, a croissant, just before you start your early adventures ashore. This is our entry level suite. This is a veranda suite. And the unique thing is with our veranda suite, we have this concept of the horizon balcony, where the balcony is part of the room or it's an outside deck space. So there's that flexibility, having more outside deck space and bringing that into the suite. In each suite, there's a mini bar, a walk-in closet, floor to ceiling window. So, and we also have 9 different pillows you can choose from. So this is 325 square feet. One of my favorite categories is our grand suite, which is 1,000 square feet, and it has a 180-degree balcony just outside the deck area. Our largest suite is 1,700 square feet. So for 100 passengers, 86 crew, 10 guides, a lot of space on this vessel. I do want to show some photos from my trip from a couple years ago. I will mention a couple of the itineraries. We do get some questions of which itinerary is better suited for me. I always say though, pick an itinerary that works best for your travel schedule. On both itineraries, Western and North Central, we will take you to the highlands to see the giant tortoises. You'll also have the opportunity to snorkel with penguins, sea turtles, and see plenty of birds, especially the most popular bird, the blue-footed booby. The Western itinerary operates from San Cristobal to Baltra and has more reptiles, so giant tortoises, lava lizards, sea turtles, less hiking on the Western itinerary, a little bit more zodiac cruising and walking. And then the North Central itinerary is known as the birders itinerary. So with this, you'll see 35 different bird species. One bird that you wouldn't see on the Western that you'll see on the North Central is the red-footed booby. What I would like to do briefly is just give an overview of a typical day in the life for your Galapagos voyage. As the Galapagos Islands are very close to the equator, it can be quite warm. The hottest time of the day is midday. So we try to have the excursions a little earlier in the morning to have you back on board midday, and then a second excursion in the afternoon. As a vessel is only 100 passengers, we are the only vessel visiting the island each day. And that really is something to think about when we're also talking about social distancing and going ashore. The two types of landings that you have with the Galapagos, a dry landing or a wet landing. A dry landing, similar to this photo, you just swing your legs around, you step on some rocks, and you can wear a pair of tennis shoes, or many times we do offer wet landings where you come along the beach and you're in about calf deep of water. You walk ashore here, and within probably the first 10 to 20 feet, you're going to see plenty of wildlife, from sea turtles nesting on the beach to blue-footed boobies. Also, you might be able to see flamingos, and the views of the islands are stunning. Every day, you're going to have these magnificent 360-degree views. Bartolome Island, which you can see on the Western itinerary, you hike along a boardwalk about 388 steps to the top. And then you'll see on the right-hand side of the photo, there's a rock that's kind of pointed up. That's one of the most famous photographs to take of the islands, and it is called Kicker Rock, which you can see here in the Zodiac photo. One of my favorite ways to explore the islands, I love to walk and hike, but I also love being on the Zodiac and with the guides. I'm on the right-hand side here next to one of our marine biologists, Claudia Holgate. And I'll never forget that first day. We went through a mangrove area, and she was telling me all about the different bird species to see, the penguins, the sea turtles. And that's something unique. You're with a different guide each day on these Zodiacs. Elizabeth Bay and Isabella, you'll be able to see this part of the area on the North Central itinerary. You can see a penguin right in front of the Zodiac, but this area is really popular for red mangroves. So you'll have plenty of birds just nesting on these mangrove trees. You can even walk through the mangroves. Sullivan Bay is a volcanic island, so you'll have an opportunity to do a little walking. But anytime we offer maybe an hour walk, we'll always offer a short beachcombing walk. You'll be able to see some marine iguanas as well as land iguanas just nesting on the beach. And then for walking ashore, seeing some of the birds, I'll never forget just standing there. A lot of photos I took were just with my iPhone because how close you get to the wildlife. It is a marine sanctuary, and I never thought I would become a birder, but the Galapagos really interested me with birding, checking off different bird species. Blue-footed boobies here in Punta Pit, and then even just walking along the beach and how close you get to the blue-footed boobies. I was there during mating season, so it's really interesting to see the males with they have a certain calling and a dance they do with the females. Another highlight from my trip was visiting Genovesa Island, which is known as the Birders Island of the Galapagos. You'll climb up these steps, they call them Prince Philip steps, about 20 steps to the top, and you'll see hundreds of birds, from flightless cormorants to frigate birds. This is a frigate bird, and the male has his chest inflated. It's just remarkable seeing this up close in person. Waved albatross. And then you'll also have these opportunities when you're just walking ashore with sea lions. Not only just walking ashore, but when you snorkel with sea lions, they'll come right up to your mask. if anyone is considering a Galapagos voyage for a holiday, summertime, or for your families to travel together, I highly recommend this. A great destination for multi-gen families. Children just have to be 5 years or older to sail. And our product is very casual, no formal evenings. You think of it like a beach resort vacation. So you have your first excursion in the morning, you're back on board midday for lunch. We have our main restaurant available, and then my favorite is the outside grill with all the Ecuadorian cuisine, a lot of fresh seafood, lobster, tiger prawns, red snapper, fresh ceviche every day. And if you do have dietary restrictions like me, I'm a vegetarian, they did cater to that. So it's wonderful to just sit outside, enjoy the views, have a glass of wine, and with everything being included, it's okay to have a couple of glasses of wine, take a nap, and then go on your next excursion in the afternoon. But these are the friendly faces that you see on Silversea. You know, all the staff on board, not just the expedition guides, but the crew on board, they're all Ecuadorian, and they have a passion for the islands. I like to call myself a fish in the water. I love snorkeling, and snorkeling in the Galapagos is some of the best snorkeling I've ever done. This photo here, I'm in the wetsuit. We do provide complimentary wetsuits, and it just shows 3 sea lions around me just before I was about to get in the water. And as soon as I put my mask and fins on, I had sea lions just coming right up to me. Plenty of colorful fish. And we always have a story from our travel trips, but I'll never forget this particular day. I had a 10-foot manta ray underneath me for about 5 minutes snorkeling. And where else in the world can you snorkel with penguins? 95% of the South American penguins reside in the Galapagos Islands. So you'll be able to snorkel with penguins on both itineraries. For those of you that are a little bit more advanced, they will take the Zodiacs out about a mile. You'll snorkel a little farther out with some of our expedition team, but another great way to see the underwater wildlife. And then we also offer kayaking. So we have 8 double kayaks on board. Signups are held on board, so you don't have to pre-sign up for anything, but they'll offer kayaking every day. So 2 landings a day, kayaking, snorkeling. It is quite a busy itinerary, 7-day cruise, but each day has a full schedule of activities. One of my favorite highlights with the Galapagos is visiting Santa Cruz to see the giant tortoises. I'm 6'2", and I feel like I look small in this photo here. These tortoises weigh up to 500 pounds and live well into their hundreds. So you do, again, have an up-close encounter with some of these tortoises, and they're all over the island. We spend about 3 hours exploring Santa Cruz. And then once you're done with your second activity, you come back on board before dinner. And the great thing is these are photos from our older vessel, but this was from my trip just to give you an idea. Everything's included on board. So one afternoon I asked for a bottle of champagne. They also provided chocolates, and you just enjoy the sunset. Being out on deck, if you're an avid photographer, you can take plenty of great photos on board. We have a photographer and a videographer, and they'll also provide their top photos at the end of the trip. And then also just enjoying the sunsets, whether or not you're in a Zodiac or just out on deck having a cocktail in the evening and enjoying the sunset before you meet for a daily recap and briefing. So right after lunch, they'll have a recap and briefing, and then right before dinner, a short 30-minute briefing of what tomorrow's adventures will look like, and then you'll have dinner. So I hope that was a good overview of the Galapagos. It was definitely one of my favorite trips I've ever taken. And if you've been to the Galapagos, if you haven't yet, the next itinerary I always recommend is Antarctica. Diana and Jill, I just want to share a couple of photos from my trip. You know, expedition travel is what river cruising was 10 years ago. There's so much interest for it. There's 40 new builds over the next 4 years. And these vessels all want to be in Antarctica from November through February. So I highly recommend take a look at an Antarctica voyage. There's 2 Antarctica trips that are the most popular, either a 10-day or an 18-day. The 10-day, you'll see 3 penguin species. The 18-day, you'll see 7 penguin species. So you'll start in Ushuaia, you'll visit the Falklands, you'll also visit South Georgia, and then down to the peninsula. Something new, we're the only luxury cruise line that is offering a Fly Cruise Antarctica program, where it's a shorter trip. So typically Antarctica is 2 to 3 weeks. This is a 6-day voyage, and it also eliminates the Drake Passage. So we'll start the program in Punta Arenas. We'll offer a chartered flight. You'll land in King George Island in the peninsula at a Chilean airbase, mainly used for the researchers around Antarctica to get them to and from the islands. And then you'll board the Silver Explorer from the Zodiac. So this is a new program. This will start December of 2021. And then if any of you are avid eclipse followers, we are offering 2 Antarctica total eclipse cruises in 2021. So end of November of next year. The eclipse is on December 4th, early in the morning. Both vessels will be positioned at sea, the opportunity to see the eclipse for a couple of minutes. So I hope to sign up for one of these trips, but if you do have interest, please speak with Dimensions and Travel about that. I'm going to click through some photos here just to show you from my Antarctica trip. Similar to the Galapagos, where we use these maneuverable and rugged Zodiacs to get you ashore, but the gear, of course, is a little different. You'll see guests in their red parkas. We do include parkas for all of our polar trips. And similar to the Galapagos, as soon as you step foot ashore, not only are you going to see hundreds of king penguins, but you're going to see in Salisbury Plain in South Georgia up to 50,000 king penguins as far as the eye can see. We're there though during their summer, so there isn't a bad time from November until the end of February to visit. Baby penguins are born at the end of December, so if you have interest in seeing the baby penguins, maybe look at a departure end of December or into January. I knew I was going to see a lot of penguins, humpback whales, orcas, but I was just amazed at the amount of ice. 85% of the world's ice is in Antarctica. And when you Zodiac cruise past some of these icebergs, you really do feel small. This is a day I'll never forget. I brought my mother. At the time, she was 73 years old. She never thought she would go to Antarctica. And this particular day in Sierra Cove, there's opportunities, they say, in this area to see humpback whales bubble feeding. So we took the Zodiacs out. Within the first 5 minutes, we saw 8 humpback whales bubble feeding. And I'll never forget the look on her face. They turned off the Zodiacs, the engines. They asked everyone to put their camera away, and you just enjoy the nature and beauty. And that really is what expedition travel is. A different way to explore, enjoying the scenery, the natural environment, and the wildlife. This photo, I wish I could say it was mine, but it was a photographer's photo. And he was in the Zodiac right next to us when we saw the humpback whales. And then hiking, it's another great way to just enjoy the views of Antarctica. But anytime we offer maybe a longer hike, this only happens a couple times on the voyage, there'll always be a short walk to see a penguin colony. And then kayaking in Antarctica as well. So that's an overview of our Galapagos Antarctica programs. I do want to mention one other thing. I shared that Galapagos video today. We do have videos on every destination, and these videos were taken by our expedition team. We have a Discover blog. It's called discover.silversea.com, and it's all content from our expedition team about behind the lens, maybe free diving in the Galapagos, and just some insider information they have of destinations they visit. So I recommend to take a look at that, and all the video content is there as well. With that, Megan, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you have a couple things you want to mention with offers that we have.
Yes. So thank you, Rachel. That was great. Every time Rachel presents, I'm like, I feel like I just went on vacation. I feel like I was there. But yeah, her experiences are not unusual. That, you know, I have a lot of similar photos to that as well. And you know, we just wanted to make it more concise, our expedition product for this presentation. But there are many other itineraries and many other continents that we go to with our vessels. But we want to save some information and be able to go into depth on a few things. So that's kind of what we concentrated on, and you did an amazing job. So a few promotions that we have going, promotions / kind of cruise with confidence offers, just to ensure that we engender confidence and excitement to travel again for our clients. So we have an early booking bonus when you pay in full for any of our cruises. You get a 10% off any of the itineraries you select. Please ignore the expiration dates because we just updated them, but we didn't have updated flyers or from marketing yet. So this is good until mid-December. So please keep that in mind. A really great savings. We have our double booking bonus, which is an incredible deal. And it kind of goes back to our cruise with confidence. Every single cruise is just $1,000 deposit. For the size of our vessels and to secure your desired cabin, your date, it's a pretty amazing deal. And once you pay in full, that $1,000 transitions to a shipboard credit. So if you want to get that massage, or if you're going on a classic trip and a shore excursion you've always wanted to experience, we're going to have that money waiting for you when you arrive to your cabin. And so then it's also $1,000 off the voyage because it's turning into a shipboard credit. So that again is also valid until mid-December, I believe the 14th. And so, yeah, and I think we're going to have some other promotions partnering with Dimensions in Travel, who has been a great partner of ours, and their expertise and their understanding of our product and these destinations that we sell is very, very, very appreciated. So I will turn it back to you ladies and see if we have any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Megan. We'll take a look at the question. That was incredible, both of you, by the way. I too feel like I had a little journey to the Galapagos and can't wait to go. Jill, would you like to take a look at some of the questions that we've got?
Sure. And while we're taking a look at that, if anybody wants to type any additional questions into the chat box below. One of the questions that we have is, do you recommend the Galapagos for a single traveler? And if you could speak to that for us.
I can speak, yeah, well, I can speak to that because I went by myself. And I would say the community, and you're sharing such incredible experiences. I think it's a great destination. I think what Rachel was going to say. But the community on our vessels is that you really start to feel like you're a family. Your experience of once in a lifetime, when you're seeing an albatross being hatched and the mother like meeting its young, you're just kind of next to these people having this incredible experience. So as someone who went alone as a solo female traveler, I was completely part of the community immediately, and you're sharing these incredible opportunities. And our vessels are small, so they're not this 3,000 person gigantic where you can't find anyone again. It's this, you become a bit of a family. And so I think because of our size and just the specialness of the destination, it's actually ideal for solo travelers because you really kind of become part of the family, and it's a very, very relaxed vibe in that way. Rachel, do you want to?
Nope, 100% agree. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
So another question for those who might get seasick on the open ocean, what can you tell us about sailing around in the Galapagos Islands?
No seasickness at all. The islands are protected. I've never heard any issues with seasickness. Usually the one destination for expedition people ask about is Antarctica. Yeah, but the Galapagos is fine. I never took any seasickness medication or anything. So
yeah,
it's very,
I get horribly seasick, and because of the protection, because you're always within the islands, you're not in open ocean the way you are in the Drake Passage or something. So I was also scared about that, and I didn't take my Dramamine once. So that was another reason why I was so excited to go, because I didn't have to suffer from my motion illness.
Great, thank you. And there's a question about, the ships look very elegant, and this question has to do with, you mentioned that it's a casual atmosphere. Could you speak a little bit to sort of, what do you bring to wear during the day and what do you change into in the evenings?
Perfect. Great question. During the day, very casual. I have to say, many times I went from my morning excursion back on board midday to a lecture in the same outfit that I was dining outside for lunch. So shorts, t-shirts, expedition gear, Patagonia gear. It's almost like you're going on an African safari. And then at night, I like to say it's probably like country club casual. Guests will wear jeans. That's okay. You'll see guests out on deck, but it's not fancy at all. It's very relaxed.
Great. Well, thank you all. And thank you for posting those questions to us. I see that we're coming up to our 4:45. Diana, would you like to wrap it up for us?
Yes, absolutely. But before we do, Rachel, you and I chatted yesterday about one more thing, and that was water temperature. Could you mention about the water temperature?
Great.
Great question. So there are two seasons in the Galapagos. There's a wet season and dry season. The wet season is from January through May, where you might get a little bit of rain, mainly if you go to the highlands, but the water temperature is a little warmer. So there isn't a bad time to visit. So the water temperature from January through May, I would say, is probably about 70 degrees, 70 to 75 degrees. And then summer through fall, because of the Humboldt Current, it's a little colder. That's usually about 60 to 65 degrees. Depends where everyone lives. You know, if you speak with someone that lives in Florida, they might think that's really cold. For us in California, that temperature is fine. We provide the wetsuit. So I would just say, wear the wetsuit, pack a, what are those shirts that you wear? The dry fit shirts that you want to protect your shoulders. You definitely want to be covered up because you're so close to the equator. It's really important to have a lot of sunscreen and big brim hats.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so
I
much.
might add one more thing that I think is great about our product is that only 55% of our travelers are American, or is it North American, Rachel?
Yeah, North American.
North American. So, you know, with the Galapagos, which is such an international destination, you might have Swedes and Aussies. So you're going to have people from all over the world. That also enriches a lot of our experiences, because you're seeing this incredible destination and going back to also solo travelers and just diverse populations. You kind of become a family because you're going off the beaten path and you're seeing these interesting, unique destinations, ports, and it's just kind of a very welcoming community because it's so diverse.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today with our voyage to the Galapagos. And thank you to Silversea, Rachel, and Megan for putting this experience together for us. And Jill, thanks for joining me with hosting this event. And we'll be getting the link out to you. This is being recorded. We'll be getting the link out to everyone if you'd like to share it with someone who might be intrigued with the Galapagos as well. And we'd love to talk with you more about any future cruising that you have planned. So be safe, everyone. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
everybody. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.